Twitter just announced that they're integrating a Bitcoin tipping system through the Lightning Network. This is big news in a lot of ways, not nearly as big as they're hyping it up to be, and there's a lot about this you probably completely missed. So just today, Jack Mallers of Strike, this Lightning custodial payment provider and wallet service, announced that Twitter is now integrating a tip button for Bitcoin right into user profiles, starting first only for iOS users and then going to Android from there. Desktop, who knows when. This is pretty interesting stuff. It's been hyped for a while and is finally seeming to be rolled out. There's a lot of questions about it as well, and there's a lot of cool implications. I'm just going to go first into the technical things from what we know, and of course what I know about how the Lightning Network works, and then we go into what this could possibly mean. There's a lot of little things to unpack, but basically don't just buy the announcement and just run from there. There's a lot to understand. So first off, information is a little scarce on exactly how this is done. There's talk of a Strike API that connects Lightning Network wallets and things like that around the world, and that they're going to be using that, and there's talk of you put in your little username in the wallet, whatever. There's some specifics given, but there's a lot of stuff that wasn't completely clarified. So let's just start with what we know. First off, this will be BTC, Bitcoin only, at least for now, right? It will use the Lightning Network in some way. People tipping can do so through a non-custodial wallet that they run on their own phone, right? People get set up to receive tips by entering their Strike username in their Twitter options. Finally, we don't know if it's going to require you to use Strike to receive, or if you can plug in another wallet. I don't think that has been made completely clear yet. So I was wondering how they're going to do this ever since I heard about it, because, Twitter has hundreds of millions of users. And if you're going to just run like a Lightning node or something and open up channels to each user, that would be hundreds of millions of Bitcoin transactions, which would just clog up the network for months and months and months, years possibly. It just would not be feasible at all. I figured they would run some sort of a centralized custodial solution, which it turns out Twitter is absolutely not doing. And if you got excited by the news, this might sound like a little bit of a letdown. All Twitter is really doing is putting a little link on user profiles to a destination, it's basically a glorified copy and paste your address and put it in your Twitter bio. That's basically what it is from my understanding. So assuming a Strike only now from the receiving end, what it would do is when you go to tip the user, is it would call up that person's Lightning Network address that they have and just open it up with whatever wallet you have, and then there you go. It would be just like scanning a QR code, except there's no QR code. It just brings that up from, their information in their Twitter bio. That's literally all it would really do. Now, there were some words in the Medium article announcing this about compatible wallets or something like that. A little fishy in the way it was phrased. And I'm not sure if that's only for can they connect to the Strike API, as in when your wallet tries to get the data, does it know what address to get? Or does it know the Lightning URL or whatever else they're going to be using? Does it know that? It could also have something to do with, does your Lightning wallet that you're trying to pay someone else with have an open route, a path to Strike, which is a lot more of a devil in the details thing. So here's how most crypto works, at least in on-chain normal transactions. You have an address, I put it in my wallet, and I hit send, zap. It sends money over to that address, and you get it. That's as simple as it is. With Lightning, you can't just take a Lightning address and send it. It can't just go straight. It has to be routed through different nodes that have direct connections and money in channels in order to get there, and enough liquidity to make that happen. So equate it to, you want to fly from Boston to New York. And with crypto, it's like flying, right? You just go up, head over, down. With Lightning, it's like charting a route along roads, like a road trip. Although you could argue it's about as fast, you still have to have a route planned out. And it's like, okay, well, I drive on this road, go to there, go there, go there. And if there's any blockages along the way, then you have to redirect to a different route. And of course, it's more expensive the longer the road you take. And if there are no roads leading there, you can't go. So let's just take Boston to Lisbon. Plane, you fly there. Road, there's really no road, so you can't get there. So if a Twitter user has a Lightning wallet, even let's just say it's Strike for simplicity's sake, although I hope they have a non-custodial option, you can just plug in some other thing that uses the Strike API, which I'm guessing they will do, you still won't necessarily always be able to tip that person, because whatever wallet you're using has to be connected through somehow to Strike, or rather to whatever wallet they end up using. And so basically this means that there will be centralized choke points to how this kind of works out. Of course, there could just be a few, but it could be a lot. I don't know. But basically, you won't always be able to send people money all the time, anytime. It's kind of impossible the way the Lightning Network works. So another thing, it has a little bit of a clunkier user experience, but it's not very much different at all. You can already do what they're enabling here. Send from a non-custodial wallet to tip a user. You can already do that, and here's how you do it. The recipient tweets out a crypto address, and then they pin it like a pinned message at the top of their feed. And then what you do to send to those people is you open up their profile, and instead of whatever the tip button up there with Lightning, you just press and hold, you copy that address, and then you just open up your wallet and send. It's literally the exact same thing. This has been possible for who knows how many years. And so I guess the Twitter announcement is a lot of a nothing burger, as they say. It's a lot of like literally nothing kind of happened. They just added an option to plug in an address. Much more complicated than that, of course. But basically, it's the same sort of thing. It's nothing new or revolutionary to my knowledge, unless something else crazy extra comes out about the API and stuff. But, knowing the limitations and physical hard limitations of the Lightning Network, it's probably, going to have some bumps along the way. It probably won't be quite as seamless as literally just on-chain sending. Now, similar to the El Salvador situation, now that I've already peed all over this kind of thing, it is still big on a couple of levels. Well, 3 levels, really. First off, it means that peer-to-peer crypto payments are a thing that is embraced by some of the largest companies in the world now. And so it's just, the cat's out of the bag too much. We're going to have mass adoption within a few years. Mark my words, right? It's happening. It's unstoppable at this point, and that's pretty huge. And of course, the Twitter thing is much of a meh of an announcement it is on a technical kind of a sense. As much as there's a bunch of devils in those details, it's still a big push forward for society in that direction. So that's really good. And 2, Twitter set the bar pretty high in a good way by being non-custodial about this whole thing. They could have just said, oh, everyone sign up with an account and go do this stuff. Of course, again, we have to see if they make you sign up for a Strike account in order to, get in there. But at least Twitter is just saying, look, we're going to link you to this. You can do what you want. And we don't have to be an actual middleman. We can just facilitate the transactions without actually being involved in the transaction. Just, meet people, encouraging peer-to-peer usage of this kind of stuff. And that's pretty huge, because if they had gone through just we have an account, like sign up, give us your credentials and all this kind of stuff, we're going to be like a bank. If they went that route, that would have set a bad precedent. So at least that's good. And, Jack Dorsey, good job at resisting temptation, of course. And maybe it was just this is more convenient of a way of doing things. We don't have to handle all this baggage of, the Salvadoran government running the Chivo wallet and all the bugs and lumps that come with that. Maybe it was just a pure practical thing. But either way, props. And 3rd, this is actually encouraging the social communicative use, social media use of money, which is a great way of sort of allowing people who provide great value online to capture that value. And that's something that right now, if you have a massive social media reach, that's not worth anything on its own. You don't just have a reach and you get money. You have a reach and then you have to sell out somehow, right? You have to pimp a product, you have to do whatever, or you have to just say, hey, donate to my thing, sign up to my course, whatever. You still have to find a way to monetize your reach. Whereas with social media, stuff like that, with direct tipping, anyone, doesn't matter if they have a reach or not, anyone who provides value can receive value in return. And that's a pretty cool thing. So to recap, This Twitter accepting Lightning Bitcoin payments thing is, from an actual real technical standpoint, pretty underwhelming, let's be honest. But from a signaling perspective of this is the way the world's moving, it's moving towards peer-to-peer crypto transactions without middlemen, it's pretty huge from that angle.